internet. Today I'm here to do my September wrap-up and my sort of ish October TBR. So last month I basically decided not to really set a TBR for myself because I was in a little bit of a reading slump, and so I just kind of wanted to read whatever struck me that I wanted to read, whatever I was in the mood for, and I kind of liked that, so I'm doing that again for October. So when I get to the TBR portion of the video, I'm basically just going to talk about what I'm currently reading and a couple of things that I know I'm going to get to this month. But during the month of September, I managed to read 5 books. I went on vacation, which made it a little harder to get reading done, but I did get some audio stuff done during my vacation. So I'm just going to jump into the books now. First book I finished in September, I finished like the first couple of days because I read it in August and then I just didn't finish it in August. And that book was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. I'm doing a Harry Potter reread, and I'm trying to get all of them read again by the end of the year. And this was technically my August book, but I finished it at the beginning of September. Obviously, Harry Potter is my favorite series in the entire universe, so I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. But I really enjoyed this reread. It was just a lot of fun revisiting this story. This is just a really good book in the Harry Potter series. It's just really good. The next book I finished in September was also kind of the reason I didn't get more read. It was another reread, and it just wasn't one that I enjoyed a whole lot. And I'm sorry if I offend you, but that book was Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. So here's my story. Here's my history with Twilight. I read them when I was 13. I liked them up until around Breaking Dawn. I really disliked them, and I haven't read them since, and then the Parable movies came out, and I'm sorry, but I don't like the movies. I think they were really badly done. And so I wanted to kind of reread the books to see what I thought now that it's been 10 years. So here's my thoughts. It wasn't good. I didn't like the writing. I really don't like the characters. Bella really irritates me. Edward is a terrible person. The last, chunk of it, around this much, was entertaining, but it's really all it was good for me was some entertainment, but I did have a hard time getting through it. And I don't think that I want to reread the rest of the series, at least at this point. If I decide in the future I want to, then I'm going to get them from the library. So that's kind of where I'm at. If you like Twilight, don't be mad at me. It's not for me. I have a hard time with paranormal fantasy anyway, so I'm not really surprised that I didn't really enjoy this reread. But I'm not judging you if you like Twilight. I'm not that kind of person. I didn't like it. I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, that's how that went. So after that, I really needed to try and pull myself out of my slump, so I decided to read some YA Contemporary, because YA Contemporary is really good for kind of getting out of slumps. So the next book I read was Dumplin by Julie Murphy, and I also read this for Diversity Bingo. But this book is about Willow Dean Dixon, who is fat, and she decides that she wants to compete in the beauty pageant that her mom helps run, and she's just an awesome character. I really, really loved Willow Dean, and I really liked this book. There was a lot of really great female friendships in this book, and as somebody who is overweight and always has been, I really loved the things that the main character had to say about being overweight, and I really connected to that part of it, and it was just a really fun story at the same time. It's an own voices book for the fat representation, and I just really, really liked it. It was a lot of fun. I ended up giving it 4.5 out of 5 stars, and I highly recommend it. I definitely want to check out more of Julie Murphy's books in the future for sure. And this is going to be adapted into a movie. I think it comes out sometime next year. I think it'll make a really good movie. It just read like it would make a really good movie, so I'm really looking forward to that. Next, I read Aristotle Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin O'Leary Sines. And I actually listened to this on audiobook, which I highly, highly recommend, because the audiobook is narrated by Lin-Manuel Miranda. But I listened to the audiobook because I was on a plane, and I can't read on planes because it makes me feel sick. So I decided to download an audiobook from Overdrive instead. And I'm so glad that I listened to this audiobook because it was freaking fantastic. The book was also fantastic, but I really liked the audiobook for this one. So it's about a boy named Ari, short for Aristotle, and one summer he meets this boy named Dante, and they form this just amazing friendship, and it is just such a good book. I mean, look at all the awards that it has, and all of these are well deserved, I think. I really, really loved the story. It has own voices, LGBTQ plus representation, and also own voices for person of color representation, and I really loved this book. I've heard a lot of people say really good things about it. I've heard a lot of people say it's one of their favorite books of all time, and I totally get why. I mean, it was just great. 5 out of 5 stars, definitely. This may be one of my favorite books of the year. Highly recommend. And the last book I finally finished in September was Because You Love to Hate Me, which is an anthology edited by Amory. I started this in July. I finally finished it. I have a hard time with anthologies sometimes because I don't get invested in the stories because they're shorter, so I don't have as much drive to read them. That's just me personally. I still like anthologies, it just takes me a while. And honestly, this was a bit of a letdown. I was really, really looking forward to it. I was really looking forward to reading about all these different villains, and there's a lot of really incredible authors in this, and also booktubers that I really admire. But it was a little bit disappointing. There were a lot of stories in here that were just okay. A lot of the essays I really thought were unnecessary. They just didn't add anything. But then there were a few stories in here that were really great, and there were a few essays that were really great. So I do want to mention the ones that I really, really liked. As far as the short stories go, I really liked Marissa Meyer's story, The Sea Witch. That one was okay. It wasn't like one of my absolute favorites, but I did enjoy it. Cindy Pond's story, Beautiful Venom, was really good. My favorite one was Victoria Schwab's story, which is called Death Knell. I really like Samantha Shannon's story, Marigold. Adam Silvera's story, You, You, It's All About You, was really good. April Genevieve Tishoka, I'm not sure how to say her name, I'm very sorry. But her story was called Indigo and Shade. It was really good, and also Nicola Yoon's story, Sarah, was really, really good. So those were really the only ones that I like super enjoyed. There were a few others that were okay, and then there were some where I struggled. As far as the essays by the booktubers go, really, there are only a few of them that I really enjoyed. Benjamin Alderson's essay called Without the Evil in the World, How Do We See the Good? I really liked that one. Jesse George's essay, Dear Death, I really liked. That was probably my favorite. Reagan Peruse's story, Evil Revealed, was good. And then Whitney Atkinson's Glamorized Recovery, Expectations versus Reality. Those were really the only booktuber ones that I enjoyed. I'm really sorry. That was how I felt about it. So it was a bit disappointing, but I still enjoyed it. I still recommend this if you're into these authors and fantasy and booktubers. Like, I think you would still enjoy quite a bit of this. But because there were only some that I really liked, I ended up giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars. So on to October. Like I said, I'm not really making much of a TBR because I'm still kind of trying to get out of my reading slump, and I kind of like just picking whatever I was in the mood for at the time, but I am going to talk about what I'm currently reading. Also, I've decorated my bookshelf for Halloween, so that way all my videos this month will be Halloweenish, and I love Halloween, so, but anyway, back to the TBR. So I am currently reading 2 books right now, the first of which is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This is a book that has been on my TBR for quite a while. A lot of people say this is their favorite book of all time. I started listening to the audiobook on one of my plane rides, and I've been kind of listening to it off and on since then. I'm almost to the halfway point. I'm on page 205, and I am enjoying this so far. I am considering maybe reading the print version and not the audiobook. Not that the audiobook's bad, but I am struggling getting into it as much as I feel like I would if I read the print version, so I haven't really decided what I'm going to do about that yet. But I am enjoying it, and am looking forward to finishing it this month. And I'm also currently reading One Dark Throne by Kendara Blake. This is the sequel to Three Dark Crowns, which is a book that I absolutely loved, and this book is really good so far. It's a duology. I think there might be maybe more books later, but I'm not really sure what's going on with that. But as of right now, I think it's a duology. But this is the conclusion of the storyline, nonetheless. It's really good so far. I'm almost, again, to the halfway point. I'm on page 167. I am loving this, so yes. Also, if you didn't notice, I didn't get to my Harry Potter book for September. So I have to read Goblet of Fire this month. and Order of the Phoenix this month. I think I'm going to tackle the audiobooks for those two. So other than that, I'm kind of just leaving my TBR open. I am going to be participating in Spookathon, but I'll have a separate TBR video for that. And that's pretty much it. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite book that you read in September was, and that'll be it for this video. And I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye.